Today I asked students to stand for just a moment in front of a camera and say something that they've learned. It was awkward. But after 2 weeks of reading about race, socioeconomic class, gender, and labor in the food system, students were able to recount a few things that they'd learned over the course of the past 2 weeks. Here's some excerpts.
Well, so far I've learned more than I've ever known about gender equality and racial inequality and how it contributes to the food that is around our area and around us and that we're eating.
I guess I've sort of been struck by aspects of food injustice that I hadn't been acquainted with before. I've been aware of food injustice dealing with conglomerate corporations that are sort of frowned upon, like Monsanto and stuff like that, but I'd never realized that gender and race and stuff played such a big role.
Well, I came from a very politically active town, so nice. I had heard about a lot of this stuff, but I got to research it more and know it a little more in depth, and the extent to which it was going on specifically within Tompkins County.
I never thought about how race would play a role in the food system.
The article I read last night about the idea of the mammy, the black, motherly, Southern cooking kind of idea, the Aunt Jemima thing. I had never thought about that before, that had political implications.
The gender readings really got me because there's so many disparities that you see on a day-to-day basis, like class you think about normally, but you don't come to realize how significantly lesser the role of woman is in the business side of food industry.
Probably the gender one, the gender in the food industry. I haven't really had a lot of experience with the food industry. This is kind of my first look at it. Whereas with race and class, I've had a lot of experience with that, dealing with the food industry, not being able to afford food, all of that. But gender, that one, this past week has really struck me because my mom never worked in the food industry.
It's pretty interesting how the role of food has changed over time.
All the amount of information that we've read has really made me realize kind of the importance of food to me, and I think I've been able to develop my own food story, and now looking back at that, I think it'll be a lot easier to go discover other people's food stories.
I especially remember the Race Week articles because, that week, and then I also just read the one about fried chicken, the woman who studies her family, as well as how the stereotype of Black people loving fried chicken came about.
Sure.
And that was really interesting, a different perspective on something that we hear every day.
What struck me is that so many people of color were in rank and file positions in the food system, yet so few of them had managerial positions, which I think is very unfair.
I'm really interested in the discussion about race and the food industry, and how one of the readings showed that the Caucasian males were primarily the ones that had the most power in terms of management, and the other races had less opportunities to get those positions in the food industry.
Growing up in upstate New York, I had a lot of agriculture and stuff near me, and it's surprising, not necessarily in Ithaca, but in other places, to see that people can't eat fresh food. Because for me, I had salads and stuff all the time. And we had a garden in our backyard, and I guess, especially after reading the thing about New York City, not being able to have a garden, stuff in your backyard is kind of crazy.
I really like how in the articles we read, it's a lot of issues that we've all known about and learned about, but it goes really in depth and makes us realize how it actually is happening around us.
Other than learning about all the different underlying conflicts that we've explored, I've learned of how wrong I was in what I thought was the art of storytelling. In the beginning, in the first few weeks, we learned that to tell a story, you have to sometimes put down the proverbial pen and let the story guide our narrative and not the other way around.
What struck me most is how more aware I've been of who I am and how I want that to be reflected in my work. And also the fact that food justice isn't simply just giving food to people. It involves really complicated social issues that don't have easy answers, and it sort of has made me aware of how we have to sort of embrace that and work with it.
I'm struck by how close we are to issues involving the food system.
We've done a lot of these readings on gender and labor and class and race, and I realized that I've grown up around Ithaca my entire life, and I had no idea how any of these applied to Ithaca and Tompkins County. I've lived here forever. How have I not noticed these things? So it was a big eye-opener.
Even though it's my first year here, I sort of want to like begin my Cornell career by not being in the Cornell bubble and being able to like expose myself to Tompkins County as a freshman.
Excited to learn about how I can make a difference in this community. Coming from California, I think this change it from semi-urban society into the rural society is going to be a really exciting change for me.
I'm very excited to get out of the classroom and explore my topic, whatever that may be, and in the process I hope to create an intimate relationship with Ithaca and the surrounding community and escape the Cornell bubble.
Well, now I'm excited to learn about all these things that I was like, how do these apply to Tompkins County and practically my hometown? So I'm excited to talk to people and learn. A little nervous about making sure that I do a good job in asking the right people the right kinds of questions and really doing justice.